economic driver in my home state of Iowa. So when I hear about the little jabs from my colleague from the north about soybeans and corn, and we have hogs that outnumber people 7-to-1, and all of these things combine to be a great economic opportunity for us in Iowa when it comes to advancement in America's bioeconomy. There's just so much of an implication here for our national security interests when it comes to food security. And while we still are the leader here in the United States for agriculture-based bioeconomy, our stature there is being challenged, as we've already discussed today. Chinese investors contributed over $14.4 billion to their bioeconomy here. U.S. private sector only about $10.4 billion. So there is a significant gap there in investment. And my first question is for you, Dr. O'Toole. We know that the U.S.-led Human Genome Project was really instrumental in laying the groundwork for countless health innovations that we as humans use today. But in your written testimony, you talk about that next frontier really being sequencing plants. Genetic sequencing right now only available for about 10% of cultivated food crops. So what would you say are some of the implications for agriculture's competitiveness with the PRC if they are the first to be able to sequence these things?
I think it would put U.S. agriculture in a very poor position as a competitor. I think we need a plant genome project for historical food crops, of which there are about 700. I think we'd learn a lot about which genes would increase yield. I think we'd learn a lot about how to make plants less thirsty. I think we could help Jason succeed in making all plants capable of fixing nitrogen, which would mean we could do without fertilizers, which are synthesized using high pressure and high energy and contribute to greenhouse gases. I think we'd be able to grow crops places we cannot do so today. And I think it would be critical to get through climate change.
Yeah. Well, Norman Borlaug is from my district, so we take that very, very seriously in terms of food security and the research that goes along with it. We actually hosted a roundtable discussion in my district with the chairman and ranking member to talk about the innovation that's happened in seed technology and why that is a vulnerability. The Chinese want to steal it, right? Because they know we are making those leaps in terms of drought-resistant, hardier, pest-resistant crops and that technology, and we've invested billions of dollars, obviously, as an industry. So, Dr. Kelly, you touched on this actually a couple minutes ago, but in terms of the plant research and some of the regulatory barriers that exist there, we know it takes years and billions of dollars of investment. So, given the importance here of the future of the global bioeconomy, can you elaborate a little bit on the regulatory barriers that companies like yours might face? What can we do to get the government out of the way so that we can really supercharge this?
Yeah, and I'll say one of the best days of my life was touring in Ankeny, Iowa, the genomics sequencing facility of Bayer Monsanto. It's incredible technology, truly. Yeah, I think one of the big challenges is, Dr. O'Toole mentioned a project that we're working on with Bayer to engineer microbes to produce fertilizer for crops.
Right. On the seeds, right?
Yeah, you put it on the seed. So soybeans are magic. They have little microbes in their roots that self-fertilize the crop, but corn, wheat, rice, they don't have this. And it's $70 billion ton. Right. So we have to engineer those microbes. Well, the old regulations around transferring microbes across state lines that are engineered are each microbe you send is a separate regulatory process. Well, that made sense back in the 80s when it was very difficult to make a change to a microbe. Now we make tens or hundreds of thousands of designs weekly, right? And so you've been a real leader in helping to update that. I actually want to say thank you for that. So I'm hopeful we'll see motion in that area.
Yeah. So we need to move forward with that and rapidly to keep up with you, right? That's what we've got to do.
Yeah. Yeah, with U.S. companies.
And then my last question, and I think anyone can answer this, but we're very concerned, obviously, about the exploitation of this data, and we know that they're not hypothetical with what the PRC is doing with weaponizing these things. So what would you say are the risks of them exploiting, whether it's plant genomics or human genomics? What are the risks, really, with the PRC exploiting that and weaponizing it against the United States?
I think specific to plants, I'd say the CCP's biggest goal is to just satisfy their own food security needs, more so than trying to weaponize it against the U.S. So I would be more concerned about them exploiting the data to create their own line of crops that are better, faster, cheaper than ours and outcompeting us in the global agricultural market.
Right. Yeah, putting Iowa farmers out of business, then not a good thing. No. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Yield back.
We very much enjoyed that trip to Iowa. The rumor